What's today all about? So I've noticed through the one-on-one sessions and in a lot of the questions that I'm getting that people are struggling with showing their value to employers. And we need to be able to do that so you could be successful in selling yourself. And we want to make sure that we are selling our value at every opportunity that we possibly can along the way. And in order to do that, there's a few things that you want to have ready. And I'm talking about desk work here that you could have in order that will substantially increase your ability to show your value to an employer. And I know I messaged this to you, but I want to recap this here. So you need to be able to anticipate what their business problems are, what the goals of the position are, what the goals of the team are, what the goals of the company are, but basically what are the things that they will need from you? What is their gap? They either have an aspiration that they want fulfilled or a problem that they want solved. That's it. No matter what all of y'all do, let's not overcomplicate it. That's what we do. Okay, that's it. That's all we do. We fulfill aspirations or we solve problems. Or we're a step in solving a problem. Or we're an ingredient in solving a problem. That's all we do. But everything ultimately comes back to that. And then you want to be able to... Now, this is something that you should either be able to do based on your working experience, your domain expertise, or maybe you're changing careers and you need to anticipate what... I'm a marketer and I want to be a product manager. What does a product manager do? Well, you're going to need to do some research, right, to understand what their needs are. You want to be able to illustrate your experience. This is the resume, right? This is where I have already solved that problem. And actually, I not only solved it, but I achieved a goal that helped someone, something, some team, some community, my company, my customer, or whoever it was, achieve their aspiration or solve their problem, right? And you're showing this in the form of what? Bullets, career highlights, essentially. And then when you get into the interview, you want to be able to substantiate all of this. You want to confirm it. You want to substantiate it. You want to show them where you've done it. And then you want to give them the details about the here's how. Here's how I did it, or here's how I would do it. Okay? Does this make sense? Can I get a hey, raise of the hand? Am I making sense so far? This is not a difficult concept, except I rarely see people able to do this effectively. So it's difficult to do in practice. Let's go to me for a second. Has anybody in this group ever seen my job search coaching program page before? Right? Can I get 100% wave of the hand? At least hopefully you looked at that. What is that? So I anticipated what your problem was, right? People need to find a new job. That's at a macro level. What does my page say? I've solved your problem. Here's the methodology by which I've done that. Here's some evidence of people who've used my formula to solve the problem. Here's who I've helped and here's what they've achieved. Right? Here were their benefits. Here was their new job. Here was their new pay increase. Here was their career change. Here was their whatever. Right? That's it. Makes sense, right? You see it all the time in the things you buy, in services you buy, or in products you buy. But basically, I anticipate what your needs are going to be. Make sense so far, right? Pretty straight. Except that I have to not only assess what your problem is at a macro level, I have to assess all the little problems that you'll have along the way, right? All the little problems that you'll have along the way. So what do I mean? Well, you might want to just change jobs, change companies, let's just say, simple formula, right? Except the career changer, they want to change jobs and companies, except they actually want to do something different. All right, well, they're going to have a host of problems. They're going to have an I don't know if that's right for me problem. They're going to have an issue with I don't have the experience, so how can I market that problem? I can go and I can research it and get up to speed, but then I'm going to have confusion problems about whether I should get up to speed this way or that way. Should I take a volunteer position? Should I go get a certification? Those are all problems, right, that need to be solved. And then there's when I get in an interview, I got to be able to overcome that problem. And all of you, while you all generally have the same sets of issues, you have some differences, some nuances, some location issues, some particular functional or skill sets issues. but all of you also place different weight on solving each of the different issues. Most job seekers, for example, place a great weight on getting a good resume, when that's the last thing they should worry about. The resume is down here, except everybody thinks it's going to fix their problem. And then they try to fix that problem first, and then what happens? It doesn't actually get them a new job, and then they wonder what the hell's wrong with their resume when I tell them nothing's wrong with their resume. Everything's wrong with the marketing of them and their resume and so on. You guys follow me, right? So this becomes an issue. And I got a great little story I'm going to tell you in a few minutes about a company that I think has some issues in setting goals for one of you boot campers, and exactly what I mean. So I want you to understand these nuances, because all of these play a part in your ability to what? To accurately anticipate. Because if you go in and you're a project manager and you're interviewing with somebody, and that somebody says, my biggest problem is I can't find anybody who's done a software as a service system implementation for this healthcare or for payers related to this, related to this, related to this. You're like, why do you need that? You just need somebody who, right, has a good project management methodology, who knows how to generally implement, right? So they are going to place, the buyers of you are going to place different weight on what they think is important. And what does this do for you? It makes it a lot harder, right? It makes it a lot harder for you to anticipate. All right, so today's going to be about what do we do to put you in the best position, irrespective of where their priorities are, but to zone in on where am I going to get the best starting point along the what do I want, what do I have, put it in the resume, build the resume highlights, and tell my interview stories. All right, so first question, and as a matter of fact, one of the things I would encourage you to do as we go through this, I hope y'all got your little notepads or notebooks. Write these down if you've not gone through this exercise. All right, so first question is, I'm a whatever. I'm a marketer. I'm a customer service rep. I'm a customer service manager. I'm an accountant. I'm a project manager for IT solutions, whatever it is. What are the top 3 goals generally that my function is targeted to achieve? Okay, is this, I want to kind of look at the faces here because it's just a little easier. Is this, can I get a nod? All you got to do is go like this or like this. Is this difficult? Is this difficult? I know it's difficult for some of you because I have conversations. It takes me 20 minutes to figure this out. So do you all feel that this is something I can get to? Can you get there? You can get, okay, all right. I can only see 25 of you or 24 of you that aren't me. Okay, all right, so good. All right, so that's the first thing. All right, now, if you're having trouble figuring that out, think in these terms. All right, what are my specific goals, and what are my team's goals, right? So use that in general. And I gave you a couple of examples in the email I sent you, like if I was a marketer or if I was a customer service manager, something like that, just to kind of, stimulants of interest kind of thing, or stimulate the ideas or help you brainstorm. The other thing I would do is look at job descriptions, or the description that you want to target. Okay, and then the other thing is there could be other job descriptions. So I want to be a system analyst for a technology company that provides software or consulting services or whatever. I have a job description. I know what they want. Or maybe I have a job description, the job description's thin. The job description's thin, go to other companies like the one you're targeting. Maybe you got some other competitors that you're targeting. Maybe you got other companies on your target company list. Look at their job descriptions. And believe me, just between you thinking and knowing based on your experience and the job descriptions or other job descriptions, or if you're a career changer or you're pivoting a bit, or I don't know if any of you saw Sean's awesome case study where he's a marketing executive, one of your beloved boot campers, and he made a wholesale change he wanted to get into more technology. Actually, in particular, he got into streaming services, but basically he was in sports basically, and he moved industries wholly. We're gonna have to do some research, right? I know what marketing problems are in general for him. Then we worked on what would these new marketing problems be like. All right, so far so good? All right, so far So good. All right. All right, next thing we want to take a look at is if you are looking at your goals and you want to make sure that the goal is truly a gem. All right, these are, if you haven't seen the Great 8 before, don't worry about it. I've linked you from that email. I linked you into the spot where you can find more detail on what these are, but I want to make sure we benchmark the group here so that y'all know what's what. Essentially, companies and people within them do 8 things, all right, that contribute value, that either make money or save money. But essentially, everything that anyone does in one way or another should eventually lead to profit. Either you're reducing something or you're increasing something. And the delta between them creates more money, and that's value. So you either generate revenue generation, so you're a salesperson who actually sells something, right? You get the idea. You either increase market awareness, so you're making your company in some form or fashion more well known to the world, right? More social media followers, more leads coming in, whatever it might be. And there are intermediary steps, which I'm going to give you some examples. You don't have to hit the bullseye like I'm in a sales job. You could be the support engineer who goes with the salesperson on the call to present the pilot to the prospective customer. That's still helping generate revenue. Okay, so anybody can contribute to almost any of these, and most of you contribute to more than one of these. Customer attraction. So in some way, shape, or form, I actually attract customers. I might not hook them and fry them, so to speak, but I actually get them somewhere in the door. I either make my customers happy. Maybe I'm the service agent. Maybe I'm the call center rep. Maybe I'm the technology support person. I'm the helpline. When somebody's software breaks, they call, I pick up the phone, or I answer the email, kind of thing. Company growth. Maybe my organization is being positioned for a merger, an acquisition, a divestiture, an initial public offering, or a whatever. So maybe you're helping your organization in that capacity. Employee happiness, cost reduction, process efficiency, you get the idea. So these are the golden greatest 8 things. And when you put your resume together and when you tell your interview stories, everything should be aimed at these 8. Meaning, if you are going to take the time to put an actual bullet on your resume, so there's bullets in the professional experience section, and then 3 of those bullets, let's say, get extracted to be put in the highlights section up toward the top. If you haven't gone through the resume stuff, this will make sense once you do. But when you do that, you always want the bullet to, in some way, shape, or form, talk about one of these 8 things. If it doesn't talk about one of these 8 things, then you have one of 2 options. You either throw the bullet out, because it's probably not worth a whole lot, or you move it into the housekeeping section underneath your title or underneath your company. Okay, and that'll make more sense once you see that stuff. All right, so that'll help you with the brainstorming. All right, now, from a highlight standpoint, I always feel like, because it's always interesting to me when somebody says, well, Andy, I don't actually generate any money, or I don't have an ability to quantify. When you're looking at the highlights of your resume, so you got a career profile, it's kind of a summary view of you. Then the next thing, you want the reviewer, the recruiter, the hiring official, whoever it is, to see are your career highlights. And I always like 3. 4 is not terrible. 5 is insane. Okay, don't have 2, don't have 5. All right, 3 or 4 is okay. And what I like to do is I want to anticipate what they want. And so I want to be able to try to hit with my highlights, my anticipations of what they want. And you can either hit the bullseye right away, like I got the main thing. Okay, I'm on the marketing team and my job is to increase brand awareness because I designed this that goes out and gets people to give us their email, to sign up on our web form, to send us a whatever, to call into the hotline, right? That's a boom, direct main thing, easy for somebody to digest who's receiving that. But not everybody is as fortunate as being right in the front line of the position to be able to do that, okay? The second thing is a prerequisite step. So I think I gave you I gave you a couple of examples in the email. I gave you a marketing example and I gave you a customer service manager example. So like in the marketing example, for example, the prerequisite step might be, well, I don't actually do all the front end marketing, but I created the website that allows us to attract more people because I search engine optimized it, and I created the form and all the goodies that go on the site that attract people, that ultimately get the lead to the marketing department, who gives it to the sales department, and so on. Something like that. That's a prerequisite step to actually increasing brand awareness, right? I have to optimize the search engine or search engine optimization so that when somebody looks for these kind of bracelets, our stuff's going to pop up. That's also something, right? Or there's an ingredient. Maybe I have an assessment that I've created that our prospective customers can take so they can figure out whether our services would be valuable. We would give them some value in the process. And while I didn't set up the scheme to do this, I'm the one that actually understood enough about what our system does or what our service does to be able to show them how they can benefit. You get the idea? Is this tracking so far? Right? So it might not be a bullseye. It doesn't have to be a bullseye. Can you eventually get it to the point where you hit one of those great 8? That's what you're striving for, okay? And these are three kind of, it'll fall in one of these 3 buckets. I either do that thing, or I do something that precedes that thing, or I created something that enables that thing to be done, right? That's essentially what's happening. All right, now I want to pause for a second. This gets confusing, and I'm gonna show you exactly how it gets confusing and why some of you might actually be having difficulty being able to extract what you do and turn it into value. Can I get? Hang on. I want to look at you, and I want you to go in the chat too. Do you all feel like with what you do as a job that it is difficult to either discover? I know you said it was kind of relatively easy for you to figure out your goals, except it's one thing to say, well, I can figure out what my goals are, but I'm having trouble actually figuring out how what I do translates to those goals. Can I get a show of hands? And like, is that more difficult, right? The concept itself is probably pretty easy, right? Except let me show you with an example of something that happened 48 hours ago of how difficult this is. And do me a favor, go in the chat. Maybe Kara can pass this to me as well. And let me know, like, what do you struggle with specifically? And maybe we can pick some of these up before I go directly into the Q&A. So let me give you a great example. I don't know that she's here. I would bet that she's not, because she's probably working her tail off with the stuff we did on Monday. Okay, so you have a boot camper. Her name's Alex. And Alex got this kick butt job, and she is in charge of running the program office for this financial company. It's kind of a investment company of sorts, and that's not overly important or germane to the story. But basically, she's in charge of optimizing all of the stuff that they do from an IT standpoint. Okay, and I coached her along the way, and we had a couple of one-on-ones to kind of help her sell into this. And each time that I was interacting with her, we were always elevating the discussion for her so that, number one, she was seen as more senior, and number two, she could get paid more. She ultimately got the job. So she and I now work on a frequent basis I help her along the way with her job, with how to do her job better. And as she has major components to her job, she enlists me. She and I actually physically got together on Monday. We were in the same spot so we could lay this all out. And she was showing me the system that they have set up that her CIO uses as a dashboard, and then there's a lieutenant right below the CIO, that's Alex's boss, and then Alex is the one who's organizing all this, and there's like 200 project managers who are using this system to manage their projects across a variety of things like applications, infrastructure, things of that nature. and they're all feeding this millions and zillions of dollars of stuff into this system. And so Alex showed me her goals, and there were 4 goals upon which she was going to be evaluated. So, Andy, this is what they're grading me on. And the first bullet, without even giving the whole bullet, says develop a better this. Okay, that's basically what it said. So she's showing me what this is, and she says, so my boss is looking for ideas for me in how to improve it. Andy, what do you got? Like, give me some ideas. And I said, that's so not where we're going to start, because ideas themselves are only as good as the value they create, and the value they create can only be determined based on the value somebody realizes as a result of what? Of using this system that is collating data from, so I'm on a project, I feed data into a system that's extracted and collated into this system that my CIO uses, I uses, the project managers use to understand all this stuff. So I said, okay, before you do any ideas, you need to prioritize the ideas, but you need to figure out what the ideas are. And in order to figure out what the ideas are, you have to figure out what the system does and who uses it and how they use it. Where's the value? Okay, so there's basically four things, right? Okay, so you got a CIO who uses this information, and how does this woman use it? Well, she's got to see where everything is, but more importantly, at the end of 2022, she's going to look at this system, look at everything. How did we do to be able to plan for what? Look into the future. I got a prediction element, assignment, value, right? Can I better predict my budgets? Can I better make a case for why I need that? Can I better make a case for how efficient we are in running our projects? So when I say I need 10 million, that 10 million is going to be well spent, right? Future value, that's one. Second thing, well, there's a communication component, because some of the lieutenants need this to basically communicate with the whatever. You got a communication component. You got the managers who are running the project. There's an efficiency component and a timely element of the information, so they can make real-time decisions faster, so that if the project is straying off track or moving faster than they anticipated, they can make adjustments that do what? Save money or avoid overruns, so avoid excess, right? And so on. And then you got the people who put their stuff in the system. There's an efficiency of putting the data in. Can we make that easier? Okay. Now you have 4 areas. This is where the value is. It's not in develop this. And somebody looks at it and then you say, well, how come I only got a $10,000 bonus? Well, you didn't make it as pretty as I thought you would, right? Does this make sense? Is this, can I get a nod? Is this your life? Is this your life? Is this what it looks like? Develop this. Support that, help them, go get partners, go do this, right? Is this not the world? No? It sorta. Okay, all right, but do you see the difference? So she's got a management team that wants her to develop something, and they probably would have been happy if she'd have ripped off 10 ideas when instead she could get 100 ideas and cherry pick the 5 best, because we're gonna survey the 200 project managers that use this system, right? And so this is the kind of stuff where when you're trying to figure out value in what you do, to put it on your resume, it isn't I developed the dashboard that. It isn't that I developed the system that, right? You created something that enables something to happen. Predict better, save money, streamline, save money, or whatever, okay? So I need you to remember that story when you're trying to break down. I have never seen so many people have so many issues just communicating to me what it is that they do. And it isn't, here's what my job is, because here's what my job is doesn't win you the interview. It's my job is so important because this is what I do, and here's a result of what the company realizes or the customers realizes as a result of me doing what I do. Okay, make sense? Makes sense. All right, so think about that as you pull your goals together and your highlights. All right, one last thing to cap it off. Now you got to communicate that. I don't know if you guys have seen this simple formula, and it's becoming my little favorite way to summarize how I would like you to tell an interview story. And you got to pack up your stories, And the first thing that you want to articulate is why is what Alex doing even important to begin with, right? It isn't that they want to be digitally more savvy or have a bit better screens, or they want to use a new software provider or whatever. Who cares, right? The problem is there's an inability to be able to effectively manage the projects on the order of X hundreds of millions of dollars of spend across X number of people who all need a common cohesive framework so that everything is streamlined, so that like all of those four things I said. So there's major context. So her story wouldn't start, well, I'm working on this project where I need to develop this dashboard, this whatever. No. My organization spends $300 million in IT systems annually. That's where the story starts. Context. Why is this important? So we obviously need to manage it effectively so we don't spill a lot of that when we shouldn't, kind of thing, right? And then what's the approach? The approach that I took or will take is broken into two elements. It's the framework, the outline, or the step-by-step. So there's 5 steps I needed to go through. There's 5 steps we need to go through to implement the system. There's 5 steps I need to go through to optimize the markets. There's 5, whatever it is, 7, 5, 3. Everything you do should be reverse engineered into a formula. And when you deliver that story, you need to deliver the story in 2 pieces. The first piece is, here's the list of what I'm going to tell you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so back to number 1, here's the details. So the first thing that I did was, and then you walk them through. And then when you're done, so when I finished the project, here's what happened. We had a whole souped up new system and we were able to achieve the 4 goals we needed to, blah, blah, blah. We saved X millions. We hired X more people. Our customer sat went up by. Whatever is the actual outcome. So what happened as a result of me doing what I did? You probably heard me call this my car technique or whatever, but you could use this for almost any kind of interview question, and you can certainly use it for any kind of question related to what did you do? Tell me about that project. Walk me through that. Okay, and you can also use the middle part for the how would you do? How would you do this? Okay, so you want to put your story together so that when you are thinking back about what is it that they need, what is it that I have to show, and what do I need to be ready to discuss? These are the elements of this. Okay, so we all good? We're all good, right? Top 3 goals. What are the goals of the people that do what I do generally in the market? They come from either my own or my team's, even my company's perhaps. I can get it from the job description for which I'm targeting or other job descriptions like it. I would probably look at other job descriptions just so you can kind of be sure, right? Then what you want to do is make sure you're looking at, do these align to the great 8, the value props, and then when you start to look at specifically what that was, think about how I influenced it. Maybe I did the main thing, the main grade 8, or maybe I had a prerequisite step, or maybe I had an ingredient. And then how would I package up my story for when I get into the interview and they want me to talk about this? And I guarantee you, one last thing before we kind of move into the next segment is if you do that effectively, you will find that your interviews, when you get in there and you're interacting with somebody, your interviews will be more like, how did you do that? Can you walk me through that project? Tell me about that, right? Like they're going to be asking you about your bullets as opposed to grabbing generic behavioral interviewing questions like, tell me about a challenge you faced. Tell me about a time you did this, you did that. They're going to go right to what they like and they're going to want you to walk them through it. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that.